morning, guys. I'm back. It's Monday afternoon and I am getting ready to start my day. Well, outside of the house, and I'll explain a little bit more of that. But oh my gosh, how have you been? Feels like it's been forever. Even though I sat down here late last month to film the Beauty Heroes video, but yeah, I didn't really, sit and just chit chat with you guys for a long time. I thought I'd sit down and kind of catch you up a little bit on what's been going on with me. I forgot to put on sunscreen after I did my skincare this morning, so I'm doing that now. And I am using the SUPERGOOP Skin Soothing Mineral Sunscreen. This is SPF 40, and this was highly recommended by Jordan Samuel. Here's the crazy thing. I usually can't use any sort of chemical sunscreen, but for whatever reason, this one, my skin takes okay. And I think Jordan said too that he usually can't do chemical, but this one blends in pretty nicely for me. I just wanted a more affordable option to the Josh Rosebrook Nutrient Day Cream, because I cannot be spending, what is it, close to $90 for sunscreen right now, even though I really enjoy his product. I got this for, I want to say like $30-ish on Sephora's website. Oh yeah, my hair. Okay, so I was watching Jess from Stark Skincare. I was watching one of her videos. Hi Jess, if you're watching. And she mentioned how she started embracing her curls. And I thought it was interesting because in the one video that I watched where she talked about it, she was talking about how her hair is kind of wavy and it was like a little bit more straight than like straight up curly. And as she was talking about like what she was doing with her hair, and then she mentioned the curly girl method, and I was very intrigued, so I started Googling what that was, and then I fell in so deep into the rabbit hole, especially with this one woman on Instagram. She is Real Life Curly Girl, and she also has a YouTube channel. But oh my gosh, I've been binge watching her videos, and I'm just so intrigued by the idea of like not fighting your hair. So basically it probably doesn't work for like people with really straight hair, but I remember going to a stylist, like actually several stylists growing up, and then they would tell me that my hair is always wavy and that I should get magic perm and whatever to straighten it out, especially like down here. And so basically I've learned that for the curly girl method, there's like a whole book on it as well. You basically just embrace the natural waves or shape of your hair, the curl patterns of your hair if you are wavy. And then there's like different types and levels of waviness. It's this whole thing. Just Google curly girl method. But yeah, I was very intrigued because first of all, Jess's hair looks amazing. And secondly, I have been really dealing these days with like poofy hair, especially. I've been washing it more with like working out and going to the beach, right? So I feel like my hair is usually frizzy. It got a little bit better when I was using the True Botanical shampoo and conditioner, but these days it's kind of been back to being a little bit puffy. But I was thinking like, what if I just kind of let my hair do its thing, and if I can kind of encourage some of the waves, maybe yeah, I can start wearing my hair a little bit more wavy. And you guys, this is just a little bit of product in my hair. Okay, maybe not a little bit, but it's product in my hair. It's totally air dried. I didn't do anything to it. I didn't use any styling tools or whatever. This is literally my first time trying it. So I think it looks pretty interesting for it being the very first time. So anyway, I just wanted to address that because it looks like I'm going somewhere fancy today because of my hair, but I'm not. You guys are probably wondering where I've been, but actually not really, because if you're signed up for my newsletter, I mean, you guys have been hearing from me every Friday, like pretty in-depth too. I feel like I've been sharing a lot on there. And if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, you totally should subscribe, because every Friday I share a list of 5 things that I've appreciated, enjoyed, or discovered that week. And it ranges from like product recommendations to experiences or people I've met. And yeah, lately it's been a lot of experiences that I've been sharing that, you know, I don't necessarily share on my other social media platforms. Like, I don't really go into depth about it on Instagram, and I really haven't been on YouTube. So if you want to, you know, stay up to date with what's going on with me, I highly suggest you sign up for my newsletter, and the link is always in my description box below. So anyway, if you've been receiving my newsletters, you know that we launched our first 30-day coaching program in the beginning of July, and that went on for 30 days. And shortly after the program was finished, which was amazing, by the way, it far exceeded our expectations for like our very first launch or like pilot program. And then as soon as that was wrapping up, I think we had 3 days left of the program. And then we flew to Washington, right? And then we saw Brandon's sister and our nephew for, about 3 days? And then Brandon's cousin Ben and his wife Denise, they flew from San Jose to Seattle, and then we just kind of had like a little mini family reunion in Washington. So that was really fun. And then Brandon and I went to Vancouver, Canada for the first time ever. And that was really cool. And it was a really interesting opportunity because 2 of the families that we were the closest to in Korea from church, they were both visiting. They were both visiting Vancouver for the summer, and so one of the families, the Chungs, Peter and Sandra, they actually own a house in Vancouver, and while they normally rent it out, it was during a period of time where they were like renovating it and they don't have tenants yet, so they invited us to come stay with them. So we were there for like about 2 weeks, and Sandra An was there. You guys know Sandra. She's been on my morning chat way back in the day. And so yeah, Sandra, her 3 kids were there, and then Peter and Sandra, the other Sandra, their 3 kids were there. And so it was a really cool trip, and what a cool opportunity for us to, you know, see our friends from Korea. Yeah, so we did that, and then we got back to Hawaii mid-August. Yeah, and then we had about like 10 days to just kind of, I guess, to relax, because while we were doing the coaching program, it was like very intense at the Rogers household. It was just like nonstop working. And then we went on this vacation. And to be honest, it was more like a couples retreat, therapy, like growth, like a jam-packed 2 weeks. So it wasn't like you're, you know, relaxing, going to the beach and just that kind of trip. It was an amazing trip, but yeah, not necessarily a relaxing one. And so when we got back to Hawaii, it was like the first time Brandon and I, in a long time, like we just were able to breathe. And yeah, so we had about 10 days to ourselves before my parents came to Hawaii. I just uploaded a vlog that I will link up in the cards. And yeah, my siblings and I, we were so fortunate to be able to come together and like fund this trip from my parents, and it's been amazing. I tried to vlog as much as possible, and there is actually so much footage that I couldn't possibly make it one vlog. So I'm going to like break it up into several parts. I'm not sure how many parts. I would say maybe 3 or 4 parts. So I'm working on part 2 now. I'm hoping to get it up by Sunday. Today's Monday. They left last Wednesday. Yeah. And again, like Brandon and I are slowly trying to get back into our routine. I haven't worked out in a while. Brandon's been really good because actually even when my parents were here, he was part of a CrossFit competition. So he kind of still had to go to the gym and train. I was a bit more lax in that, you know, my priority was to, you know, take care of my parents and schedule things with them and drive them around and do things with them. So I actually haven't gone to CrossFit in probably 2 weeks. Yeah. So I'm hoping to get back into that. I really need a lip balm, so I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I went to grab my Trusted and True Gran lip whip in Jeannie. And right now I only have one stick of the Osmia Lip Doctor, and that lives in my medicine cabinet. And I'm kind of weird about taking my lip balm from the medicine cabinet and carrying it around with me because, you know, when I carry a lip balm with me throughout the day, like I'm constantly eating or drinking stuff and I'm like applying lip balm, right? I don't want to use that lip balm to moisturize my lips before I go to bed. I don't know. I just have this thing where like I need to have like a separate lip balm for the medicine cabinet that I only use before I go to bed, and it's clean, right? Like it's after I brush my teeth and everything. Yeah. Anyway, so I currently only have one lip doctor, which is like my go-to balm, and that's in my medicine cabinet. And so I really, really love this one, this lip whip that I got in one of the Beauty Heroes boxes. And yeah, I was surprised to see how much I loved it, and I'm still loving it. So that's what I popped on. I'm having a hard time thinking about what to catch you guys up on because I feel like I've been sharing pretty in depth in my newsletter. So I don't want to be too repetitive because I feel like most of you guys are signed up for it. One thing that actually has been pretty heavy on my mind, maybe I'll talk about that today, is I think I may have mentioned it in a previous morning chat, or it could have been something maybe that I just spoke to with my clients in our coaching program. But basically, Brandon and I, we had a business coach helping us as we were getting ready to pilot our program. And one of the things we asked him was if we should continue to create like coaching content for this channel where I already have an audience, or if he thinks that we should start a second channel. And his advice was for us to start new, just because, you know, on my main channel, on this one, like I love talking about beauty products. I love being able to, you know, show up like this and talk about whatever I want, just to, you know, see how you guys are doing, catch you up on what's going on with me, and have it be more like an open space where, you know, I don't necessarily have like just one topic that I'm married to on this channel. And so he highly encouraged us to start a second channel where it would just be devoted straight to coaching. And to be completely honest with you guys, like that idea alone has been so terrifying for me. And it doesn't really make much sense when I think about it, because it's not like we're starting from scratch. I think for those of you that are interested in what Brandon and I are doing with the coaching thing, you guys, you know, I have this platform to be able to tell you about it, and then you guys can join me over there if you're interested. And if you're not, then you would just stay here to hang out with me and talk about other things, right? And so I'm very lucky in that, like, I even have this space to connect with you guys. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty scary to start a channel and have like 0 subscribers from the start, right? Like, I don't know. So the other day, Brandon and I went to happy hour with one of my friends, Andrea. And if you guys are subscribed to my newsletter, you've read about her before. She's the friend that I met at CrossFit, where I just thought she was so amazing, and I went up to her and I told her how cool she was, like the very first time we met, and I thought she was gonna think I was weird. Yeah, she's that friend. But oh my gosh, I feel like I need to bring her onto morning chats one of these days, because she is a very interesting lady. Just off the bat, she reminds me so much of Gail. Their athleticism, their attitude, like the way that she converses with me, her humor. I mean, she only has 1 kid, whereas Gail has the 5, but they're so alike in so many ways. And Brandon and I were driving home from happy hour just thinking, oh my gosh, like how lucky are we that we get to have another person like Gail, like on an island. And she's incredible. Like, the reason I want you guys to know her is she's doing something really cool right now, where she is a surrogate for someone, and her story is very, very fascinating. She's just a cool woman. And so Anyway, I mention all this because we were at happy hour with her, and she was asking, you know, how business is going and how our first launch was, and we hadn't seen each other in a while because of, you know, us traveling and with my parents being here. And she actually asked me, she was like, is it terrifying to think about starting a second channel? And I was like, yeah, it actually is. I swear I had a point to telling you this. Okay, so we were talking about how while it's scary, there was something really cool that happened recently that kind of reassured us that what we're doing is, you know, what we're supposed to be doing, or we're heading in the right direction. And when my parents were here, we went on a hike, the four of us. Like, of all places, Brandon and I, we end up running into one of our CrossFit coaches, like, on the trail, and she was out with her husband and their two large, like, huge dogs. And we ended up just standing around and chatting with them. And my parents actually went ahead. And so by the time we caught up to my parents, I saw that my dad was talking to a woman at one of the scenic viewpoints. Like, she was either stopping to take pictures or she was like on her iPad or something. And actually, to backtrack just a little bit, right before this hike, like on the drive to this hike, my parents were talking about how they land back to New York, you know, after they leave us, like Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And I asked them if they were going straight to work. And they were both like, yeah, I think so. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're gonna be okay to go straight to work after like a 10-hour flight? And my mom and dad were saying like how much they love going into the office because they work in the same office. They do different things, but they work in the same space, and it's their own office and they work for themselves. And my mom was just telling me like how much she loves going to the office, and it's something that she really looks forward to because my mom is like super organized, and she has this system where, you know, when she's not working, when she's not taking calls or doing stuff on the computer, like she has the luxury of like watching my YouTube videos most of the day. And in her drawers, she has like knitting supplies. And if you guys watched my vlog with my parents, like, you know, my mom, like, she can knit. Like that doll, that's the one that she knit that I showed you guys in that vlog. And then I have the donuts and the kimbap put away for now. But yeah, my mom was like, I love going to the office. Like, I get to work and I get to knit and I get to watch you on YouTube, and then your dad makes me coffee and brings it to me and all this stuff. And right when they said that, Brandon was like, man, that's so cool that you guys have an office that you can look forward to going to. And he was talking about how much he would love to have an office as well. And I get it because, you know, our place is really small. I mean, I love our place, don't get me wrong, but you know, we both work from the dining table and it's small, and so it can easily get cluttered and crowded. And when it's time to, you know, time to eat, we have to clear everything, like all of our notebooks and laptops and, you know, gadgets and everything to make space to eat. And so, I mean, I understood Brandon's desire to want to have that designated space. So fast forward, we catch up to my parents on this hike, and my dad's talking to this woman, and you know, by the time Brandon and I got over, we went over and we said hi to her, we introduced ourselves, and we were talking. And, you know, after like a little bit of small talk, she ended up asking what Brandon and I are doing here. And by the way, she lives in our neighborhood as well. And we told her like, oh, we're actually, we're starting an online business. And it's going to be around like relationship, life coaching sort of stuff. And she was like, oh my gosh, well, what are the chances? Because like she manages a co-work space. But the interesting thing is, like, this co-work space, you can only work there if you are some sort of like an entrepreneur or a bit startup that's involved in tech. Yeah, and you know, Brandon and I, we're not like a tech startup or anything, but our business has like a tech spin to it because it is a digital product. And so while we were chatting with her, she actually was like, hey, why don't you two like come by the office, come by the co-work space, and I'll give you guys a free trial for a week. You can come in and work for a week, which is so generous because I think their drop-in rate per day is like $20 to $30, I think. And then, you know, there's like different plans where you pay more if you want to reserve like a designated desk, or if you want like an actual room, like an office. So anyway, she offered this like free trial for us, and she asked us to come by, that she would give us a tour and everything. And it was nuts because Brandon was like, oh my gosh, I was just talking about how, you know, I want an office. And she's lovely. We really enjoyed meeting her. And when we got back, I mean, after my parents left, we took her up on the offer, and we stopped by 2 days ago, and she gave us a tour. So starting today is our free week trial at this co-working space. So that's where we're gonna head after I finish telling you about this and getting ready. So yeah, we're gonna have a temporary office space, and hopefully it works out and we can commit to going there. And the amazing thing is, it's like 5 minutes from our house. You guys, like, you know, one of the things that we were thinking or like concerned about is, you know, moving to Hawaii from living in Seoul for the last 7 years. And for me, like living most of my life in New York, a big concern was like, oh my gosh, are we gonna have like island fever, you know, once we started living here? But it has been like every step of the way. And I think I got to see this with a fresh pair of eyes when my parents were here. But I think for a while, like they were probably wondering how we were doing here, and for them to actually come and like see our life, there were so many things that they pointed out about our situation where they're like, you guys are so lucky. Like, you have a Costco on the island, you have a Target, you have a beautiful golf course, like minutes away from your house. We have like access to a free tennis court. This Workspace is 5 minutes away, and they're like, everything you could ever need is like right, so close to where you guys are. And I'm just so thankful that meeting that we had with the woman, her name is Denise, by the way. When we met Denise, it was like, oh my gosh, like the timing. Had we not ran into our CrossFit coach, like we would have just proceeded on. And I don't think that my parents and us, we would have just stopped and started small talk with, you know, a stranger. Especially my parents. Like, I was surprised about like my dad striking up a conversation, because I thought they'd be more shy with the language barrier and everything, because English isn't their first language. But yeah, it's been really cool seeing my dad like just talk to our landlord and just strike up conversations. And that was like one example that really opened a cool door for us. And when we went for that tour at the co-work space, she introduced us to another woman in the building, and she was like, oh, you know, Brandon, Jenn, meet this woman. She runs the, what is it? It's like the Small Business Association of Hawaii or something like that. But basically, this organization, they provide like free counseling for small businesses on Hawaii. So if you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to start your own business, you can just schedule an appointment and you can meet with a counselor, and they'll help you with everything from like thinking of a name for your brand and how to market and doing market research, finding your target niche and all this stuff. And Brandon and I, like, our minds were just being blown about like, what the heck is going on? Like, why is everything lining up like this, right? We know why, but yeah. Anyway, so I was telling my friend Andre about all this, and as terrifying as it is to think about, you know, starting a second channel and starting over in some sense, she made a really cool point where she said, you know, sometimes when you're going somewhere and you're driving and you're on a path and you're not really sure where you're going, but you think you're supposed to be going a certain way, and then in the distance, like, you might see a sign that says something like, you know, this way, with like arrows pointing, and then there's a part of you that feels that relief that you are going in the right direction. Well, she like compared like that example to us meeting Denise and us, you know, having the opportunity to work at this co-working space, and then during the tour meeting, you know, this other woman who is going to help us with starting the business and the branding and all of that. And so what? I don't get it. Doesn't make logical sense to me, but I'm going with it, and it feels really cool to be able to tell you that. And I'm glad I told you about it here, because I was thinking if I shared it with you in a newsletter, it would be a very lengthy story, and I know some of my newsletters can be much longer than others. Thanks for listening. So that's where we're headed today. I can hear Brandon like finishing up the dishes after lunch. He's always really good with helping out in the kitchen, especially when I'm filming. He takes care of stuff out there, whether it's cooking and washing dishes and cleaning. So yeah, I hope that gives you a better idea about what's going on with me. You know, there are a lot of things that are up in the air right now that we're still trying to figure out, and we're preparing on how to do like a proper launch for our product, because the last one, it was more like pilot testing. You know, I just kind of mentioned it briefly in a morning chat to see how many of you guys would be interested in being coached. And so yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do, and I hope I can, you know, keep you more in the loop as that's happening. As always, thank you so much for being here with me and for even giving a crap about me sharing all of this in my life. And so yeah, can you tell me how you're doing? I'm so curious. Leave me one thing down below that you have been thankful for this week. I want to hear your gratitude list. I mean, more than one is always welcome, but yeah, tell me something that has been a highlight for you. And I'm looking forward to getting back in touch with you guys, and I'll see you in the next vlog with my parents, part 2. Bye guys, have a great day.